Hey everyone, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I didn't forget about this game, it's just uh, lots of life things came up, so I had to deal with those. But did want to finish this. It's been since January since I last did a recording for it. Uh, so I plan on finishing the second case as soon as I can, and I know there's because I think I mentioned I played at least up to the second case before and completed it. As my knowledge to this game. I won't try to give any spoilers away of what I know, and I might have forgotten some things since it's been months. But I think I'm still in the first part of the investigation, and then there's a second part, and then there's the court first part and the court second part. I was thinking maybe I'll do this video until the end of the first investigation part, and then do the second one, the second investigation part, and then do the same with the court things because I know they're like already long as they are. So I think that might be what would work out best instead of trying to do like um, a certain set time episode or something like that. And I was looking around and also this was saying that uh, because I didn't know what I was doing last, it's just telling us to move. So I'll try that out. And I know I give characters some voices and stuff, but I don't know. It's been a while since I've done something like this, so I'm feeling a little bit shy, so I might not. Um, but we'll see. We'll see. 9th January, 7:48 a.m. SS Bureau, first class Captain Passageway. Phew, I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation. She just looks around. I've seen better. Yes, indeed. I can give her a voice. I don't think she's the main character. I gotta remember how to pronounce their names without sounding, you know, um, Kazuma-sama. I think that's how it was, or Kasuma-sama. I don't know if there's Z's or like S's in some languages. Um, was being sent out on a study tour by the government. That's why he was being put in the first class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? That must be awful. Isn't it? But would it be because she's a woman? Or is it because it's just a cheaper thing? Because I know this one's set back in time further, so I don't know, that might fit into a thing. Oh, look over there. That's another crewman keeping watch. And he looks enormous, even if he is sitting down. The door next to him leads to the second class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose, like people in handcuffs? Forgot we were in handcuffs. Excuse me. Naruhodo, or, oh, I messed that up. Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes, I know. But the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came abroad, and ever since then I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. Let's examine. Alright, let's see. Let's look at this. This looks like a plan of the SS Bureau. It shows each deck. Look. The Bureau is a large-scale steamship with triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but... Oh, never mind. That's not the right voice. Oops. I pulled an Aaron moment. Uh, how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh,
That really, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san.
It is?
Well, consider the Japanese arch archipelago.
Ugh, I probably pronounced that wrong. We'll skip it. The islands of Japan?
Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them.
Well, I suppose so. Okay, word. That's a huge book on top of the table there, and there's a pin next to it.
Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Shall we?
Or, shall we have a little look through it?
The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded.
Whew, vocabulary. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. Thought he might appreciate the compliment. You flirting with men? Is that what you doing?
I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor.
Yeah, is there some underlying?
Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank.
Presumably, that means there was nothing to report.
Hmm.
Okay, okay.
That's the way to the second class area of this ship. Is something wrong?
I was thinking about making a run for it, just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me.
I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman would surely shoot you dead.
That's reassuring.
Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there.
No, I started it with my talk of running away, so I'm the one who wanted to be shot. And there's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. Um, I don't want to talk to him yet, because I think I'm gonna have to answer some questions in some dialogue. But I can look at these things. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to.
Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging.
Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. Oh, oh, excuse me. We, need to get inside this cabin here.
This sailor's eyes speaks volumes. They're clearly saying, keep out.
That's what I wrote on the sign we put over the wardrobe doors. Although this man's version is definitely more effective.
It doesn't look like he's going to let us pass.
Hmm, that's a problem. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? Round, or because it's round at one part and long at the other? What are you trying to say?
That's the emergency line. It's probably best not to touch it.
Oh, an alarm. I thought it was something else.
It says, press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells, ringing all over the ship, and brings the vessel to a complete stop.
Oh, this I have to see.
What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it.
But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs.
You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason,
Let me get it together.
you'd be in an even worse situation.
Ah, I wish everything would just stop, the ship included.
If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else.
First class cabin number one. Yes, that's our cabin.
Not our cabin is Kazuma-sama's.
Sorry?
Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin.
You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? As small as the wardrobe I've been calling home.
These cabins are the finest on the ship. My own cabin in steerage is number 539, by the way.
500 and... How many cabins are there?
Ah, a trap for catching mice.
Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait.
Let me see. Yes, I think this is what is called cheese. It is made from the milk of cows.
Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like.
You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers.
Really? But... I suppose you're right.
You weren't actually gonna try it, were you?
All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe.
Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later.
Alright, now I think the only thing left is to talk to this man. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You? You little stowaway murderer? I think he's supposed to be, Russian. That wasn't a good start, was it?
Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you?
You? You little third-class lady's maid? Oh.
Oh,
We seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. I am not sailor. My mother give me name. I am senior crewman, Biff Stroganoff. Phew, the best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Let's see. First class cabin area. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first class cabin area. Here, we are in finest part of Bura, steamship, for very important persons. What kind of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens, traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I'm always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean, but Shogunov is not animal. Thank you?
if I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Isagi's currently occupied?
Duh.
Susato-san,
Oh, Susato-san, did you understand that?
it sounded like, uh, I think it's probably Russian for yes or no.
Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, sounds like there is somebody in the next door cabin at least.
Yes, it's tantalizing.
Oh, okay, so passenger in the next cabin door. I guess we'll just do that one next. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asagi's? Or Osogi's, sorry. Stroganoff. Oh, never mind. What am I doing? Wow. His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylet. He's a very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy. How can you be so sure of that? Mr. Roylet is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in a lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh.
Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott
Or Roylot.
came aboard?
That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the cabin next door, or even felt like there's anyone there.
Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first class cabins. He must be rather important. Is that right?
That is not your business. Last night. Um, are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff? Da, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out.
I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all?
It is said about student boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Yeah, maybe that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. Susato-san, did you understand that?
It was clearly a no.
Niet. That's probably how it is, if that's how like Zarya says it in Overwatch. uh, I saw nothing unusual, nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises? Or sense anything was wrong in some way? I said no. Niet. Sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. Hmm, skills going on. This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh, it is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain, or as English say, when the pigs fly. Yes, I understand.
Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we?
Definitely. Okay, so I can probably do the cabin since he's gone. Yeah. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. Yep. Let's ask. Okay, now we'll see what happens. Oh, now we knocking.
No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries.
Or increase, or I don't know how to pronounce that one. That one isn't the IN one. How annoying.
Ah!
What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a... Or,
Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman.
stand aside. I'm about to break the door down.
Mr. Sholmes?
I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges.
Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted.
It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What prey can I kick?
I...
Or, I thought that was her looking at me. She's looking at me for him to kick me, because she's all about that. I, I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. 9th January, SS Bira, first class, cabin number 2. Who, who are you? A Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We, we heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True, this old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you, now! Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsby Roylott, I believe. Yes, that's me. And you are? I am the one and only, the actual Herlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt? No. I am a great detective among great detectives, one who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. The man uses that magazine like a business card. A detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe at this time. So might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case? What? Don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. Don't look at me.
Oh my! Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, the case just shook. Leave, now. Otherwise I'll call the steward. So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. The strange Russian man is hiding something.
I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns.
Uh, converse? Last night. Mr. Roylott, we'd like to talk to you about something. No. Oh, I do not want to talk. Leave my cabin now. Oh, this is going terribly.
We're not getting anywhere here.
I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. Okay. Let's examine them. What do you think you're doing?
Oh,
This is my cabin. Get out. Oh, I can't. Uh,
could we have just a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps?
no.
Oh, what a pity. I think we're out of luck.
I think you're right.
There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do.
I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps, yeah. Okay, so I do have to talk to him first. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You need only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course.
Resting? What's that? Resting. Resting.
Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting for the inevitable time that you would need my call for great powers of detection into service.
Oh,
And it would seem that the hour upon us is now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? To use, sorry. Why, the truth, of course. Though it should be pointing out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russians will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it?
oh yes, please. Okay, girl, calm down.
See all about that, Mr. Sholmes. Well then, what you are about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired, great deduction to the case. I don't know why I said it like that. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? I I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you, or anyone.
That's right. And Mr. Sholmes, I know this man's beard is dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially in first meeting, but I once read it is capital or it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment.
Shh. Or shh. I must have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. Hmm? There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I've reached two incontr... Let me get this word, y'all. I got this. Two incontro... incontrovertible conclusions. Yay or nay? Did I get it? I think I got it. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you're about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Huh. And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn. You are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you've been discovered. Does it not? Ah.
Oh, Naruhodo-san! I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions with my very own eyes.
That was a great deduction?
Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person.
What? What an effable twaddle.
Oh, yes, I've read about it countless times in The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. And now I've experienced this astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true.
I can hardly believe it, but all the color is drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right. How how could you how could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well then. I shall elucidate, sorry. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So I do cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. The great deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Old man's identity. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place, is the enormous pair of shears in your hands. Now, we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. The question then begs is this. Why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front page article, which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary Violin Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Snap. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Violin Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. A revolutionary on the run. Wrongdoing. Conclusion. Oh, this is the second one. Okay. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ah, and I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes, yes, that traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps? One slight enough to fit therein? D don't be absurd. And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coot duel? I don't know how to pronounce that. Betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. For there is another most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back of the page, renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction, and according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova, I think. Kidnapping of a young ballerina. Conclusion. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma. Elemensky. Ooh, my dyslexia while reading. Ooh. Susato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it?
Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow.
Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes. Could you come over here a moment? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all. Go on. Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other. Ah, yes, I recall our discussion earlier. At the time, I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance.
In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Roylott does look more like this man than you do.
That's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina. Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child into the case, even if you pushed really hard.
I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she?
You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I?
Hmm. Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out of the case.
Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain or litheness in their bodies. Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case.
Oh dear, you might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes.
Ugh, this whole thing is turning into a circus.
Mr. Naruhodo, something's occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seem a little off.
Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Miss Susato.
It's just that one or two key words in his deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think?
Switch some key words in his deductions.
Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure that if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deduction.
Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind. This man is a lot of work. At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me. Ah ha 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 ha. It's not that funny. Ah, and you, my good fellow. Sorry. Take a moment to look at your wrist. My wrist? Ah.
Ah, where are your handcuffs?
Huh? How? How did... I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it.
Mr. Sholmes, you are a marvel.
And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished. I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. So we're going to do this again. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Topic 1. Old man's identity. Conclusion. A revolutionary on the run. So the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylett, obviously what catches the eye in the first place is the enormous pairs of shears in your hand. Now, we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring at us in the face. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport.
I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard?
I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though,
It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott either.
which means I suppose that the deduction is wrong.
Let's try to switch a keyword here, Naruhodo-san, and see if it helps the matter.
Alright, but how?
I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylott.
I wonder if it's really his beard that he intended to use those shears on.
Exactly. I was thinking if we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Sherlock, or, excuse me, sorry, of Mr. Sholmes' deduction better,
Then what?
then I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruhodo-san.
Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in that last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roylott really going to use those enormous shears for? Whew. Let's see. Thick hat, nah. Golden locks. What the? What's this?
It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks.
No, no, no. That color is not the point. The point is, what's it doing on the back of Mr. Roylott's head? And how is it growing out from underneath his thick black hair?
Well, yes, that's true. So it's stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising.
Something's definitely not right here. Present. There we go. No, you're wrong. You are on the verge of using those shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed, you have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all. You're a woman. And judging from the length and sheen of your hair, one still very much in her youth. Oh no! If only I'd managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea that old man was really a young woman in disguise. Did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that?
Yes, it was a surprise, Naruhado-san. You're enjoying this, aren't you?
Sorry.
You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room detecting the facts with Mr. Sholmes.
I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business. None of that.
Yes, I understand. Say no more. Lover boy.
What was that?
Nothing.
Well, anyway, let's focus on the next part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction, shall we? The evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now.
No, that's true, given that Mr. Roylott is actually a woman.
Exactly, he, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. I suppose it's because the deduction as a whole has taken a different direction now. Yes.
Let's switch the
Oh, messed up the voice thing, didn't I? Oh well.
let's switch the evidence for something else, something that fits the facts as we now understand them.
For some reason, this woman needed to try and hide her true identity. I feel as though I've read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Alright, I'll do my best. Examine, and we'll flip this over and check this out.
So, according to what Mr. Sholmes told us before,
This article is about a dancer from Russia, from a Russian ballet company who has disappeared for some reason.
yes, a prima ballerina called Nikolina Pavlova. Pavlova. Hmm. Anyways, she went missing from her dressing room whilst the company was performing in Shanghai, and the tiara she was wearing at the time appears to be a very valuable piece of jewelry.
What was it? 20,000 rubles? Rubles? Rubles?
Yes, I have no idea how much that really is, but I feel sure you'd be given change from that amount even after buying all the cakes in the cake shop.
Her imagination's really running away with her.
And now, in order to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara, the company has requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain.
Let's see. Okay, I guess I'll check this out.
I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian.
No, me neither. I've no idea what any of this says. The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of this newspaper is concerned with the fearsome revolutionary Russian. I'll just say that. It reads, Revolutionary Violin Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Yes, you told us that before. It reveals also that those who see the man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale.
Oh my goodness, he is fearsome.
Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was alright, wasn't he? The solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he need only shave it off.
I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes.
Alright. Oh, this one. Let me... Isn't that? Oh. The evidence that reveals your true identity, of course. The article about the ballerina. That's right. You've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we are finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of the Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina, Miss Nikolai, or I want to say Nikolai all the time or Nikolina Pavlova just because I played Call of Duty growing up. Ah!
My head, ah! Ooh! It's okay. I'm alright.
Whoa! You're right. My real name is Nina. I mean, Nikolino Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. Conclusion. A ballerina on the run. Not the revolutionary. Solved. Wrongdoing. Conclusion. Kidnapping of a young ballerina. Womp. Oh. Oh, we still on the second conclusion. My bad. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have... Yep. We can skip this. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime. Yes, the traveling case. This woman is the ballerina, and she's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside that traveling case as well.
No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all.
In which case, what is the crime this young woman is apparently committing? I can see him going to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again.
You seem to look pleased, Naruhodo-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Sholmes?
Stop it. It's not like I like him or anything, or being close. Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to. Let's see. Where did she cleanse to? Let's look at the case. It is a very small case, isn't it? You can see instantly that no person could possibly fit inside there. So that,
So does that tell us that Miss Pavlova's telling glance in this direction was focused on something else?
if that's true though, it doesn't make sense. What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Well, if there's nothing incriminating inside this case, why does she refuse to let us look inside?
Yes, I wonder why. Perhaps she has a perfectly harmless reason, though.
Let's see. Oh,
Yes!
how did I miss that? The proof of your crime is surely this tiara.
Ah,
Oh. I believe this tiara was worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, was it not? Or is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles. Or rubles. In summary, the crime you have committed is theft. Oh no. Yes, you have left your ballet troupe, unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you.
ah. Ooh, almost lost my wig. Anyway,
I have no one, no family, no friends. I am all alone, and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an earl? Of Russia. It belongs to me. This girl's only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely. Alright, I will tell you everything. There's no point to hiding it now. Come, let us not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason as why you wished it to remain closed. Right? Yeah. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? Um, my dear girl, There is no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I have ever laid eyes on them. Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Yep. Uh-huh. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the books on the shelf. He's completely changed tact with his deduction now.
I think, I think Mr. Sholmes is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you?
Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all of this? It's just a wild guess, surely.
Oh, don't you think so?
Well, it doesn't seem likely that the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her.
Yes, that's true, but still, Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself.
Then there has to be another reason why she won't open her case. And it must be somewhere in the same room, or same area, if that's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn.
I agree. That's the only answer.
Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase. Let's see. Rules of passage. Cabin door. Small picture. Books on the shelf. Can I look up? I could look down or to the right, right? Guess we'll look at the books on the shelf. Ah, it looks like these are all the same books that we have in our cabin. I suppose the steward likes to make sure passengers have plenty to read for the long voyage.
And have you noticed how all the books have fallen over? Just like in Kazuma's Sama's cabin? It's almost like someone's taken a sweep at them.
Maybe Miss Pavlova, while she was practicing her ballet? Anyway, the point is, we don't have time to look through all these books at the moment.
We couldn't even if we wanted to. They're all in Russian.
Well, that's a relief. Let's try to look elsewhere. I guess I'll look here. Oh, okay. I think it is this one.
These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Bureau. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden.
There's exactly the same notice on our cabin, too. I wonder what happens if you break the rules.
Oh dear, I'm sure its punishment would be severe in Naruhodo-san. You'd probably be left adrift in the freezing cold ocean, or shut inside a tiny wardrobe for days on end.
So I've actually been serving time for weeks now, have I? Let's present that. Bam. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case, written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in the cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item will move of its own accord. Which leaves to but one possibility, Miss Pavlova, inside your traveling case. Is the last item listed as a forbidden in the vessel's rules of passage. A pet. Ah! Da. Conclusion was not kidnapping a young ballerina, but possession of a prohibited animal. Solved. Deduction complete. Elementary. So clearly, you aren't who you said you were. No, I am not Grimsby Roylott. My real name is... Let me see if I can get it right this time. Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel. which couldn't have been easy. The Bureau is a huge steamship with a vast crew. Could she really have snuck on board without being noticed? In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman, and you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet, to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone. So, if it was just you about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin? That veritable tinkling of a bell. Why, none other than this young lady, naturally. More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me. I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disguise myself? So no one would recognize me.
As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man? I see. Bad taste.
Duh. I put on fur hat and fake beard. Then, just before you came in here, I saw the newspaper. Right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened, I couldn't stop from screaming. I... The angle, it was all wrong. I knew that if it didn't change my appearances completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all my hair as fastly as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and, at that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door.
Things happen like that sometimes, don't they?
Things do indeed happen like that, from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing?
There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case?
You were right. It is my dear friend inside, my only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say it to any of the crew, your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us, in as much detail as you can muster, about the events of last night. Yes, all right. I will tell you. Or,
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, wasn't it something, Mr. Soames' great deduction?
it was certainly something. Yes. I'm just not entirely sure what. But at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, yes? What? Observe your wrist. My...
Ah, your hands are cuffed again.
What? But how? True to my word, I have restored your shackles. When and why?
There is still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say, it can't be helped at the moment.
Can't it really?
Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what the speckled band that Kazuma-sama wrote about in his diary really was.
Let's get it going then. What happened last night? Did you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night? One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast. The man who died, he was a friend of mine.
Oh,
That's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night?
perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example. Perhaps people talking?
Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded. Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened.
Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us?
I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me. Oh, I see. Running away. You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novovich Ballet? Yes. I'm traveling to Great Britain, and from there, I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life. You wish to forget? A challenging proposition. When you have that striking tiara as a reminder. But the tiara is mine. I need it to live. Oh,
She little cuckoo.
I have no money of my own. The Novovich Ballet gives us only a little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I had stayed, it would have killed me.
So you ran away to protect yourself?
Yes, and the crew of the ship. They have all been kind to me. They let me come on board, and they said I could hide in this cabin. If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates a most intriguing conundrum.
Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo?
Me? Oh, well, yes, of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. To what conundrum? I'm not sure, but... Conundrum? What's up with that? Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Bureau stopped by no port last night. Ah, that's it, of course. So, how is it, pray, that you come to be aboard?
Now that I think about it, the crewman outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about when the occupant of this cabin came aboard.
That is not your business. Yes, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something. An angel that descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage. Sorry, what was that? It is how the Russian newspapers described one of my performances. And that is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens, because I am an angel. Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid.
Mr. Sholmes once said, I never can resist the touch of the dramatic. It seems Miss Pavlova is the same.
A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself. A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement for the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, in fact. Yes, yes, Mr. Showy. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. Friend? So the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case, is that right?
I don't think animals are allowed on board, according to the rules of passage.
Oh, please, don't tell any of the crew. If they found my precious... Then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt. Uh, so reassuring, Mr. Sholmes.
But what sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? It is, isn't it?
Niet. Maybe an adorable little rabbit? Niet. Ha! You credit Russia as a land with small rabbits, do you? Oh, don't they have small rabbits there, then? You may well ask. I have no idea. Ah. You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerinas, friends. Young ballerinas, friends. Plural, right? Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken.
Really?
Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call, daily fresh eggs, and when adversity strikes, it could satisfy the needs of sustenance. So you'd eat your friends. I'll remember that. Yet. Well, it would appear this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed. Ah ha 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 ha. She obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it? Uh... Oh, okay, present. There we go. Sorry. Let me present that. Boom. This is the diary of my friend who passed away. His diary? Yes, and he wrote in it last night before he died, something a little unusual. It reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. And then a few minutes later, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? I do not understand. It's strange, isn't it? But a ventilator he mentions joins to this cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together. Oh,
Miss Pavlova, has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you, or the whistling sound, perhaps?
yet. I don't know anything. Oh. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, Mr. Roylott. Yes, what? Wow, she's fast. Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once, please. All right, I will come now. Or I will come now. What? You must leave. Now. Oh no, it's fine. Don't mind us.
Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Orlett.
Get out! The passenger said out, or you want me to throw you out. It looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later.
What a pity.
And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. The hands that were on me, the big muscular, to be continued. Oh, my bad. He just goes on a rant when uh she's in the background.
What are you talking about? Are you talking about that big burly man again? We need to get you a diary for those.
9th January, SS Bureau, first class cabin passageway.
I wish we hadn't been thrown out like that.
I wish we'd managed to find some clue as to what that speckled band might be.
We didn't manage to investigate at all. And I imagine that we won't be able to for a while longer. We'll never get past that sailor guarding the door.
He's clearly glaring at us as if to say, don't even think about it. Oh, wait a minute.
What is it?
Well, what happened to our great detective friend? Where did he go?
Oh, yes, he's completely disappeared.
When did he do that? He slipped away as quietly as the wind, but not before ensuring these were securely back on my wrist. Also, I tried to figure out if there was like supposed to be music or anything. I was watching some older videos of mine, and there was some music in the background, and it says the music's on. I paused the other music I had going. Um, Try to reset in the defaults and stuff. So, like other sounds, like the noises in the ship, you can hear, but I'm not sure about uh, if there's supposed to be any music going on right now. We'll find out. I don't know. I really wish we'd had a chance to look around in Miss Pavlova's cabin. What? Why you look like that? You want something? Hmm? Maybe you want me to throw you out again, hmm? Oh, no, no. Definitely not that. Definitely wouldn't want that. Next time I have to throw you out, I show you where lobsters spend winter. Understand? Uh, understand. Maybe I should steer clear of him until he's forgotten my face.
I don't think you'll ever forget your face, Naruhodo-san.
Are you saying that I'm that likable? Are you...
No.
First class cabin, number one. Yes, that's our cabin. Yeah, uh-huh. We went through this dialogue last episode, but it didn't show up as a check mark, so that's why I clicked it again. Okay, yeah, here's the new stuff. Anyway, I wonder if Inspector Hosonaga has managed to uncover any new clues.
Yes, we should probably find him and ask.
Okay, so that's telling me to go in there and check them. Let me go over here and see if anything's... This is checkable again. Remember, in games like these, check everything so you can continue on.
That door leads to the second class area.
Yeah, it's locked. I can't open it.
No, well, that stands to reason. No one wants to let the murderer escape.
Gosh, she gave me a very stern look when she said that. Yeah, of course. Alright, now we can do this. Let me remember my buttons. And we're going back here, yes. 9th January, SS Bureau, first class, cabin number 1. It looks like they're still investigating in here.
Yes, on that subject. I wonder if Inspector Hosonaga is unscathed.
What do you mean, unscathed?
Surely you haven't forgotten, have you, Naruhodo-san? Don't you remember what he said about allowing you out of this cabin to investigate? He was going to talk to the captain about it. He said he'd lay his life on the line for you.
Oh, yes. But I'm sure he was exaggerating.
Let's see what he has to say for himself.
He might have some new information for us. You never know. Where is he? Oh, okay. Shabam. Oh, he's all beat up. Ah, you're back. Inspector.
What happened to you? Your face is... it looks great, yeah. Suits you.
Please, don't worry about it. They're just scratches. Made by a bear, maybe? Somebody helped the bear in that fight. When I told the captain that I'd given you permission to investigate, he told me he'd pummel me with his fist and then toss me overboard. What? But the pummeling was over in a flash, and he must have decided against throwing me overboard. So it was nothing really. It looks like he wasn't joking when he said he'd lay his life on the line if he had to.
Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little bit about the neighboring cabin.
Yes, so I understand.
Oh!
I bumped into a man claiming to be a great detective a little while ago. I think his name was something like Herlock Sholmes? I don't think he was a German though. That explains it. Shall we compare notes then? We can tell you what we found out. Yes, let's do it. The cabin next door. What? Nikolina Pavlova? She's in the cabin next door. Oh, do you know who she is? Please, what self-respecting ballet fan wouldn't know that graceful angel? Oops, I think I upset him there. Well, that tells us the neighboring cabin is unrelated to the case at least. Oh? How? Because angels don't go around committing crimes, do they? Oops, now I've definitely upset him.
Inspector, has your investigation in here proved fruitful?
If I'm honest, there's very little more I can do. Also, we're hearing the music now at least, or at least I am. Our duty is to make sure the scene isn't disturbed. Ready to hand over to the Hong Kong police. So I'm just keeping watch here, trying not to take my eyes off the job.
Oh, I see.
Ah, there is one more thing. I do have a small piece of new information for you. Oh, what?
Yes, do tell us, Inspector, please.
Oh, I gotta click it? Okay, got you. What is this new information you have, Inspector? It's this. The Bureau's medical officer has finished his examination of the body. I managed to obtain the report. Oh, Kazuma's post-mortem report.
Kazuma-sama.
So, what was the cause of death? Damage to the cervical vertebrae is what's written in the report.
His neck was broken?
Yes, seems so. There were no obvious wounds or other signs of injuries, so at first, I think they were considering poison. But it turns out they found no trace of poison in his system at all. Well, what weapon was used then? Nothing has been found as yet, but the fact that there is no signs of a wound suggests it may have been a blunt object, something that wouldn't leave a mark. Oh, I see.
All the body's nerves run through the spine to the brain. A strong enough impact to the neck could induce death. It is a possibility, and no obvious wound would be left.
Poor Kazuma. I have a second copy of the report. If it might be useful, you're welcome to have it. Really? Are you sure? Yes, it's fine. I trust you.
You trust a murderer?
After all, if I didn't trust you, I'd never have agreed to you leaving this cabin in the first place, would I? Ah. So she only thinks I killed him. The post-mortem report has been entered into the court record. The great detective.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes was here, wasn't he?
Yes. He seems to be enjoying himself a little too much as he crept about the floor, or about on the floor investigating. But then he suddenly left. I suppose he must have become bored. Did he say anything at all? Actually, now that you mention it, yes. Just one thing. But he practically shouted it. It's shoe polish, was all he said. Shoe polish? I wonder what he meant. It was when he was over there by the piece of broken glass. Do you see? Ah. Ah, perhaps he was talking about this brick-colored mark, do you think? Ah, yes. That must be it. But how can Mr. Sholmes know that it's shoe polish? That leaves me cold, I'm afraid. I have no idea. What is it, Susato-san?
Well, Kazuma-sama was wearing leather shoes with a very dark tan hue.
Dark tan? A sort of dark brownish red, then?
Yes, a little like the color of red wine, but darker. I often repaired them for him.
Oh, does this mean that this mark was made by the polish in Kazuma's shoes as they scuffed on the floor? The mark on the floor has been entered into the court record. That's really all I can tell you at this stage. I should return to my post. My fellow crewmen's eyes are boring into the back of my head. Yes, that might be for the best. Thank you. Ahem. Ahem.
Poor Inspector, you look exhausted.
Oh, no. Well, I feel terrible that I failed to protect Asogi-san. He was my responsibility.
Yes,
Of course, my pain is nothing compared to yours. You were his friends. The truth is, I seem to have had a heavy head ever since I woke up this morning. A heavy head? That's interesting. My head's still throbbing too. So we're like head brothers. Pause? Or play? You decide. I guess we examine some more. He's good, so maybe talking to him. You, where did you go? Oh, sorry, I just went to the... Why? Who gave you permission for this? Well, Seaman something did. Sorry. That new Japanese, was it? Later, I will roll him into a ball and throw him in cold room. Phew, when he's gone back to guarding the door.
I hope Inspector Hosonaga doesn't find himself in too much trouble on your account.
He's really gone out of his way to help us, hasn't he? When we get back to Japan, we'll have to take him for a steak at La Carnival.
That could be a very long time from now, Naruhodo-san.
So we're gonna check this out now? It really is such a beautiful color. This glass. It looks like whatever it was has broken clean in two. But the other half is nowhere to be seen.
And then there's the brick colored mark.
Which is shoe polish, according to that great detective you seem to know all about.
I suppose it must be from Kazuma-sama's shoes.
Maybe. But what I'd like to know is, how can the detective be so sure that it's shoe polish and not something else?
Because he's a great detective, of course.
That's hardly a reason, isn't it?
Not for me.
Boop. These are the rules of passage. Yep, same rules. Oh, that was new dialogue, sorry.
She called it her friend, didn't she?
Yes, although we don't know what form this friend takes as yet.
I'm almost certain that whatever it is, it's inside the traveling case in her cabin.
A friend. There's more to this than it seems, I think. I guess I'll check that out and then go back outside. So Spinner joins Miss Pavlova's cabin. Yes.
That's right.
In just a few minutes before he died, Kazuma-sama saw a speckled band, as he described it.
If only Miss Pavlova had been able to shed some light on it, but she seemed as baffled as we are.
Yes, I wonder if she's telling us everything, though.
I'm not sure.
I know most people aboard would say the same about me, but there was something about that woman that didn't sit right with me. Leave. January. Passageway.
Oh! Look, Naruhodo-san. Seaman Stroganov has gone.
Strong enough?
Burly Russian sailor who's always crossing his arms and glaring at us.
All these Russian names are impossible to remember.
Tra-la-la.
Did you hear that? It sounded like someone singing. Tra-la-la-la-ra-la-la. I did the great detective way.
This caroling. I know that lark-like voice.
Well, never mind that now. This is a golden opportunity for us.
Yes, you're right. We must seize it. Let's get inside Miss Pavlova's cabin while we can and investigate.
Definitely. Before that Shringy Knot crewman comes back.
It's Stroganov, not Shringy Knot.
She's like, get it right, get it tight. Let's check it out. Miss Pavlova's cabin.
This could be our chance.
What?
The burly sailor doesn't appear to be around at the moment. We can investigate every last inch of that cabin.
I'm not sure if we can go that far.
But
we could certainly do with looking around more. I'm sure we could learn something. Yes, yes, yes. January, SS Bureau, first class cabin, number 2. Miss Pavlova isn't back yet. Susato-san. Oh, where's she gone? Hey, what are you doing? Those are her private things.
There's not a moment to waste, Naruhodo-san. We must investigate as quickly as we can.
I suppose you're right, for Kazuma's sake.
Not just for Kazuma-sama.
What do you mean?
It can't be long now until we arrive at port in Hong Kong. I don't want you to be in those handcuffs when we get there.
Really?
We must solve this case, Naruhodo-san. By ourselves if we have to.
Yes, we will. Now it's time to investigate this thing. Let's check here. We'll do right side to the left.
Naruhodo-san, are you there?
Sorry? I'm right here. Yes. Why?
Oh, good. I thought you might have climbed into the wardrobe when I wasn't looking. There's no place like home.
Girl, this ain't no time for games, girl. We investigating. Believe me, I don't have some strange compulsion to jump inside every wardrobe I see, you know.
That's what a layer would say. Anyway, I'm not sure anyone could fit inside this thing. Or this one. It's full of beautiful outfits. I suppose they're all stage costumes.
I was rather hoping we might find Miss Pavlova's friend hiding in there, but no such luck. Why would you expect it to be hiding in there when it was in the case earlier? So this ventilator connects to Kazuma's cabin next door.
Yes, although what a fool a shipbuilder must be to open a ventilator into another room.
Maybe it's so that if there's a gas leak next door, the occupant of this cabin would notice and raise the alarm?
Or the occupants of both cabins would die of gas poisoning?
That is a possibility. Anyway, last night, Kazuma wrote that he saw a speckled band coming out of this ventilator. There's one of these next to the bed in Kazuma's cabin, too.
Yes, it's a bell cord.
I can't resist.
I can't resist.
Girl, stop dinging the bell. She barely hesitated there, and she gave it a good tug, too. Pause. You feel better?
No, I didn't actually expect anyone to come.
But we don't want them to. We're trying to investigate in secret. Now we check that out. This cabin door has the same simple sort of bolted latch that our cabin door has. If the bolt's drawn across, there's no way anybody could enter the cabin from outside.
Yes, it's not a particular heavy-duty bolt, is it? But still, it wouldn't slide across of its own accord, would it?
No, and the door is made of metal, so there's no chance of trickery using magnets to unbolt it from the outside.
And it seals up perfectly, too, to stop any seawater coming in. So you couldn't use the method you told me of passing a thread through a crack around the door, or around the closed door, either.
I seem to know a lot of tricks for opening doors. I'm starting to see why they suspect me. Well, it's just common sense, right? Yes, they're displayed in this cabin too. Look, rules of passage, yep.
I suppose Miss Pavlova realized that she needed to keep the contents of her case a secret after she read this. Her special friend, I mean.
I wonder where her friend is discreet to now. It's probably having fun exploring the ship, I imagine.
I just hope Seaman Shogunov doesn't find it and throw it overboard.
Oh yes, so do I. Now the books. All the books have toppled over there. Look, every single one.
Do you think that's a god of the sea, perhaps? He's toppled too, though.
It's exactly the same as the bookcase next door, in Kazuma's cabin.
Perhaps. Perhaps Miss Pavlova was practicing a difficult ballet pose and fell against the bookcase?
I don't know. Would she really be practicing ballet on the same night she ran away from her ballet company?
Alright then, whatever you say, Mr. Smarty Pants. It must have been you then. You lost your temper and knocked them all over in a fit of rage.
Not everything bad that happens on this ship is because of me, you know.
Well, anyway, I'll set them all straight again in here too. I don't like seeing things in disarray. Oh my, Miss Pavlova's case is open. It's completely empty inside, but according to the great detective's great deduction...
She was hiding her special friend in there.
Yes, a friend that she had to keep secret.
Because you're not allowed to bring animals aboard the SS Bura. I wonder what kind of animal she had in there. And more to the point, where is it now?
I suppose every cabin has a waste paper basket.
Shall we have a little look and see what's been thrown away?
Now, Naruhodo-san. It's poor etiquette to go sifting through someone's rubbish, you know?
Ugh, those eyes. Okay, so we've seen this part, but she probably will let us now.
However, these are special circumstances, I think.
Exactly, we have no choice. There's hardly anything in here at all.
Oh, well, that's a little disappointing.
Let's check that out. There are just a few books on the desk, nothing else, by the looks of it.
Well, Miss Pavlova only ran away from the ballet last night. She's hardly occupied in this cabin for any time at all.
That's true. I wonder what kind of books she likes to read.
Let me see. Yes, I see. It would seem that Miss Pavlova enjoys reading books written in Russian.
Thanks. I think I probably already knew that.
It's rude to ask too much of people, Naruhodo-san. Kindly remember that.
She just laid it on you like that, huh?
It would seem this teapot is empty.
So it's the natural conclusion that the Russians are very thirsty people.
Or because Miss Pavlova only came into this cabin last night. She hasn't had the chance to make any tea yet? I mean, it could be either. You never know.
It's definitely like that they're excessively thirsty. I'd lay 1,000 to 1 on it.
You're rather obstinate, aren't you, Naruhodo-san?
And then this.
I wonder what this little saucer is doing on the floor.
Yes, it does look, or it doesn't look like it's been dropped. More like it was put there deliberately.
Oh, do you think there could be a leak in the roof just above here?
What? A leak?
Is this ship quite safe?
I'm sure that even if there's a little leak on the roof, it doesn't mean the whole ship is going to sink.
No, you're right. Of course you're right.
She's really trying to persuade herself, isn't she? Oh, so she's just delusional. Twins. Let me try moving and see if that is anything. Yeah. Is that what they're saying? Ah, okay.
Oh, it's Mr. Sholmes, look.
Wow, you never know where he's going to turn up next, do you?
He seems to be stealing a look at something as he sings to himself.
Oh, so I should have looked here first, huh? Tra la la lira lira lay. I did it the great detective way, yep. He's still singing. Do you think he hasn't noticed us?
Or he's simply in extremely high spirits.
Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when the yard bit off more than it could chew. And through it all, when there was no doubt, it's lucky Herlock was about. Excuse me. I solved it all, and I stood tall. I did it the great detective way. Mr. Sholmes! Ah! What is it? You wanna fight? Honestly, interrupting a fellow when he's singing, and I was just about to reach the climactic finish. Unlike you ever could. Sorry, I thought you were never going to stop, so I figured now is a good time as any. I'm barely nearly dropped you to the floor with one of my famous right hooks. You see these moves? Alright, I get the picture. Now could you put those fists away? Who's ready to sauce me up?
Mr. Sholmes, you seem to be examining something before we interrupted you.
Yes. I was immersed in study of the ship's log as penned by the stockily built crewman who's usually on guard here.
Oh yes, the ship's log.
And did you find anything useful from it? Well, after 2 a.m. this morning, the majority of the entries are blank. Which means that there was nothing to report, nothing of note happened, so... Ah ha 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 ha. Ah ha 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 ha. You truly are a student from the land of the rising sun. You've been utterly blinded by it. Ah ha ha. Sorry. Your logic, my boy, is inverted.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
Observe the other pages, and all shall become clear. It would seem the same crewman oft sends sentry in the first-class passageway, and he has an almost religious practice of recording nothing to report every half hour. Oh, he writes that in every 30 minutes?
Nothing to report.
Precisely. Put simply, the seaman writes nothing to report when there is just that. And yet, the ship's log from last night is largely blank. He didn't even write nothing to report.
Do you mean...
Yes, there were circumstances afoot last night which led to the seaman being absent from his post.
What kind of circumstances? What happened?
That remains a mystery for now, but we can be sure something significant took place. So significant that it caused the seaman to forget his regular habit of scribing nothing to report in the log. These are important details. I would stake my life on it. You must log the ship's log in your mental file. The ship's log has been entered into the court record. Now that deduction was worthy of a great detective. Ah, you're starting to understand what my way is. I see. What makes Sholmes Sholmes? Brilliance. Ha 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 ha. Ooh, ouch. What is it? Are you hurt? Oh, don't worry yourself. I seem to be afflicted with a throbbing head this morning for some reason. Nothing more.
So you have it too? Can I feel it? What?
Well, my friends, into our next counter. He's still singing to himself. I can hear it as he wanders off down this passageway. Is something wrong, Susato-sen? You seem lost in thought.
It's just that... Well, I feel the same.
Sorry?
Ever since I woke up this morning, I've had something of a headache. A sort of continuous throbbing.
Oh, you too? So everyone's got a headache, huh? So I guess we go back here for a new thing.
Oh, what's that?
I ain't gotta do that, but it was fun. Shut down the engines immediately. Vessel sighted at a quarter-mile forward. Full start. Hard to starboard. All hands, brace for impact. What the?
I think we're about to crash into another ship.
What?
I can't stand.
Susato-san, hold on to me. Wah! Mario. Wah! Susato-san, are you alright? Are you injured at all?
I think I'm fine. Thank you, Naruhodo-san.
It looks like we avoided a collision.
I think.
Yes, the ship has come to a stop.
Oh my goodness. What about you, Naruhodo-san? Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine. Oh, hello, is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance. Oh, that sounds like...
Inspector Hosonaga.
Is that you in there, Naruhodo-san? Unbolt the door, quickly. What? The bolt? Clue. Look at that. The door's bolted. Did you do that, Susato-san?
No, I didn't touch it.
Well, that's strange. How did... And look at all the books. They're just like they were before again.
Naruhodo-san, aren't you going to open the door and let the inspector in? Aren't you?
I'd better tidy this place up first. Our violent emergency stop had solved one mystery at least, in a very vivid way. But I knew that what awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. I hurried around tidying up the cabin with a new sense of foreboding in my heart. To be continued. Save current progress, yes. Was that part 2? Is there part 3? Oh, there is a part 3. Should I do part 3 and part 2 in one, or just call this one an episode? You know what? I can call this one an episode there. So until next time, thanks for watching, and feel free to leave a like, subscribe, all that. And see you.